there, dementia caregivers. Kristen Galloway here, occupational therapist and certified dementia care specialist. Welcome to Dementia Care Hub TV, and we are so glad to have you today. We are going to be talking about hydration strategies for your loved one with dementia. Are you having a hard time getting your loved one with dementia to drink enough water, taking enough fluid? Well, this is something that's super important, and let's talk for a second about why hydration is important. Hydration is important because all of the cells of our body need water to accomplish their tasks. So everything from your heart to your brain to your liver to your skin needs water to function the way that it's supposed to. So what kind of effects can dehydration cause? Well, they can really exacerbate a lot of the symptoms of dementia, such as agitation, confusion, brain fog, fatigue, right? So these are things that we definitely don't want to have happen. In addition to the fact that we need all of our body to be functioning appropriately and using the water the way that it needs to. So, quick disclaimer, if you are working with a loved one or another person with dementia who has a medical condition that requires them to restrict fluid intake, you want to check with their primary care physician or other healthcare provider to be sure that you're offering the appropriate amount of fluids. And what I mean by this is if the person that you're working with has diabetes, or for example, a heart condition that causes them to retain fluids, you want to make sure that you're offering the appropriate amount of fluids throughout the day. All right, so if the person that you're working with does not have any of these extra conditions, right, in addition to their dementia, then we can go ahead with the hydration strategies that I'm getting ready to offer. Okay, so number one is sip all day. Right? So a lot of us grew up and we were used to having a big glass of water or milk with breakfast, with lunch, with dinner, and we didn't pay a whole lot of attention to hydration during the in-between times. Well, the way that the body works is that we absorb water, if it's available to us, throughout the day, and our cells use that water all day long to do the work that they need to do in the body. So it's super important and much more efficient and effective to sip water all day long. So for example, if you drink a big glass of water or coffee or tea with your lunch, do you notice that about 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour later that you really have to go to the bathroom? Well, yeah, of course. So that fluid has just passed right through your body. We drank so much that it was kind of like an overflow and our body didn't have time to absorb it and use it. So this tip is about sipping all day long. So fill up a water bottle or a big tumbler at the beginning of the day and just keep sipping it all day long. Put it out where the person with dementia can see it, right? So it's visible to them. It's kind of top of mind that way. And give them frequent reminders, right, to sip on that water and or other beverage. And that way it's available to them throughout the day and it will get absorbed and used by their body more efficiently. Okay, tip number two, offer other fluids. So I hear from a lot of individuals that I work with that they don't really like water, right? Maybe the person that you're caring for is not a huge fan of water. It just doesn't have a whole lot of flavor, right? So we can certainly put flavorings into water. We can offer other drinks like juices, soups, smoothies. All of these things have lots of fluid in them, so it doesn't have to be pure water. I always tell people I recommend about 50% of your intake be water, but if that's not possible because the person doesn't really like water, then it's okay to offer other fluids instead. Tip number three, model good hydration yourself. Right? Are you running around all day as a caregiver, busy, and not taking breaks to get good hydration for yourself? Do you find sometimes that you get a headache or you're very tired and then all of a sudden you realize how thirsty you are? So it's super important as a caregiver to take care of yourself and make sure that you're well hydrated, but it's also a great opportunity to be a good role model, right? And to demonstrate these hydration strategies for the person that you're working with. So I always recommend fill up that tumbler or that water bottle at the beginning of the day, sip on it all day long. That way the person that you're working with can see that you're sipping and it will encourage them to sip as well. Tip number four, make it social. Take a break, sit down, relax, sip a cup of tea or have a small snack and some water with the person that you're working with. This is a great opportunity to connect with them on a social level, right? As a daughter, as a husband, as a wife, versus just as a caregiver. Sometimes we get so bogged down in the caregiving role that we forget that we have this completely other relationship with this person. And that's the one that's super important, the one that we want to maintain, right? So sit down, take a break, and really enjoy their company and encourage hydration while you're at it. Number 5, get a special cup. So there's two kind of different strategies involved in this one. Obviously, you can get something that's their favorite color or that has the logo of their favorite sports team on it, something that's important and meaningful to them. But the other side of the strategy is to look at this person with dementia and see, are there reasons why they're not drinking that are part of their physical, right, being? So do they have poor grip strength, a hard time holding on to a cup, right? So there are certainly some recommendations we can make there, and you'll find those down in the description of this video. I have some links to some different types of cups that might be useful for the person that you're working with. How about if they don't have good neck range of motion, right? They can't bend their neck down, or they don't have good range of motion in their shoulder to be able to lift that cup up to their mouth. You might want to get a cup that has a straw attached, right? So a lot of times you put a straw in, it's easy to tip it over, it might spill, but there are lots of cups that have those flip up straws that are super great for keeping it from leaking or spilling. So there are lots of different ways that we can adapt this. Sometimes the person may have tremors, and there are cups that are adapted for that. So I'll put some recommendations in the comments below, and you guys can check those out if you have a person that you work with that has some limitations in their physical abilities. Number 6, change up the temperature, right? So some days we just don't feel like drinking something cold. It's chilly and yucky outside, and maybe a nice cup of soup or a cup of hot tea would be more appealing to that person. But again, the opposite is true in the summertime, right? We just need something really cold to quench our thirst. So change up the temperature. Don't be afraid to try different fluids besides water that might be more appealing to that person that day. And number 7, and this is a big one. Try to include more fruits and vegetables in the diet of the person with dementia. So I know this is a kind of a completely different topic, and another kind of struggling point for a lot of caregivers is getting someone with dementia to eat more fruits and vegetables, particularly if that's not been their behavior their whole lives. But it's great for the mental health, it's great for physical health. Our bodies need the micronutrients in fruits and vegetables to do, again, all of the work of the body. And so if you're able to squeeze some of those in, and perhaps they don't like to just eat those things plain. They don't want to eat, some carrot sticks, or they don't want to eat a handful of fruit. And that's okay. Try to work them in other ways. You can use berries as a topping on yogurt or ice cream. You can mix a handful of kale or spinach into a fruit smoothie. And so there are lots of different ways to incorporate this. And there are several fruits and vegetables that are really high in water content that are even better to use than others. So for example, cucumber, watermelon, and again, fresh berries. So try those mixed into smoothies or as a topping on cereals or yogurt, and see if your loved one with dementia isn't a little bit more receptive to trying to add some fruits and vegetables to their diet. So today we talked about 7 different hydration strategies to help with getting your loved one with dementia to drink more water, more fluids, and to stay well hydrated. If you like this video and found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see new updated videos as soon as they're released.